Hi, happy Earth Day. I'm Beth Chalette. I am a yoga teacher. I'm also a clinical psychologist, and this is going to be a gentle yet a bit more active yoga practice. So I had a request to do sort of a morning or a wake up practice. So that's what I've themed this practice around, is the idea of stretching. We're going to stretch out the spine a little bit. Yeah, it's afternoon where I am, and you can just practice any time of day when you want to stretch your whole body, but also in a gentle way. You see, I'm seated on a chair. You will need a chair for this practice, although most of what we're doing can either be done seated on the floor or standing. We'll only be standing for a brief little balance work in this practice. Balance can be helpful for helping yourself be alert and aware. But most of this practice will be either in the chair or a little bit on the floor. So you might want to have a mat or really just something soft to land on. So to start, find a comfortable seat wherever you're seated. I do recommend that you have a seat that you can feel comfortable, that you're perched on your sits bones so that you can be upright in your body, upright in your spine, and that you can start to be aware of your body and begin to tune into your breath. So I always like to take a few moments at the start of my yoga classes to tune into where we are right now. Being in this moment on your chair, on your mat, in your basement like me, wherever you are. Knowing that in this moment, you're breathing, you're thinking, you are okay. Things might not be okay overall, but you are okay. If your attention wanders, also okay, normal. Draw it back using whatever you would like as an anchor. It might be the feeling of your feet on the floor. It might be the feel of your breath in your body. Maybe it's the sound of my voice. Whatever your attention wanders, and it will again and again, gently be kind to yourself as you draw it back. And then take about 3 more mindful breaths. Mindful means just paying attention, being aware of the breath as it enters your body, and being aware of the breath on each exhale as well. And one more inhale, following the breath as it enters your body on the inhale. And then following your breath as you breathe out. So if you shifted at all in your seat, again, find a comfortable seat. You can do this seated, you can do this kneeling as well. We're going to start seated. If you're on the floor, it's fine, with just doing a little bit of a rocking action to our pelvis. So kind of rolling my tailbone so my pelvis tips forward, and then tucking my tailbone so it tips back. You might not see a lot of movement. It's scooping your pelvis in one direction and the other. And then we'll start to coordinate this with movement, with breath, and with more movement going up through our torso into cat and cow. So as you tip the pelvis forward, breathe in, expanding your front body, drawing your shoulder blades together a little bit on the back. And as you exhale and tuck your tail, allow your shoulder blades to open apart, forming more of a C-back. And continue this process. You can slide your hand along your thighs, draw your elbows back as I'm doing. You can take your arms wider if you'd like, expanding them as you open forward, opening with your chest, and then bringing your hands together as you close if you'd like. One more. Drawing in breath, filling your body with air, back into the curve shape. Come back up through center, turn at about a 45-degree angle to your left, and I'm mirroring you. And we'll repeat that 3 times in this direction, then we'll go to the other direction. So breathe in, tilt your tailbone, expand your chest forward, doing whatever you'd like with your arms. Exhale, slide back. So you might feel this shift a little bit into where you feel the stretch. Maybe not just your spine, but I know I feel it on the opposite side hip a little bit more. Being really gentle with yourself, especially if this is a wake-up practice for you. So that was 3 times for me. I'm going to come back through center, and then I'm going to turn to the opposite side. So your right side, about 45 degrees, but you don't need to know geometry. Breathe in. This time I'll use arms. Exhale, curving around. Inhale and expand, allowing your breath to travel to wherever your body needs it. One more time, maybe feeling some stretching, some action in your spine, and then come back through center. So that was our wake up breath. We'll do a little more movement with the spine with a lateral stretch. We're going to take that all the way from the neck all the way down. So I'm going to lower my ear to my shoulder. This would be your right side. Keeping my shoulder soft, simply allowing my ear to come toward my shoulder. I'm not going to push or force it. The one thing I'm trying to do is keep my opposite hip on the chair, because we're going to start taking this into a deeper stretch. So from my ear, I'm going to start letting my shoulder reach more to the ground, kind of dropping off on this entire side, bending on the opposite side, but keeping this hip down. So this hip could travel up, but that's decreasing the stretch. So I'm pushing this hip down into the chair to get a greater stretch. Maybe my opposite fingers, the fingers of the side that's stretching, so your right hand reaches toward the floor. Let the ear go a little bit more if it started to reach back up. And then take it opposite as you come back up. So pushing down with your hip, moving through your side ribs, rolling that whole side of the body up, and then we'll take it to the opposite side. So your left ear drops toward your left shoulder. And take a moment just to enjoy the neck stretch here. And then as you're ready, allow your shoulder on your left to start to roll down, your side ribs, moving down into your left hip, maybe placing a little hand on your right hip, reminding it to stay on the chair, so your right side sits bones, hips stay down. Seeing if you can get any more release, maybe wiggling the fingers a little bit, releasing toward your left as you stretch along the right. And then exhale, reverse the process, lifting everything back up. All right, the last thing we're going to do to warm ourselves up seated is a breath movement called Breath of Joy. Now we usually do this standing. I don't know about you, but in the mornings I like to do a gentle yoga practice. Sometimes I like to just stay on the floor the whole time and lie down, but that's why I'm using the chair. So I'm going to widen my feet a little bit, just so I kind of feel a little bit more firm in my stance. Breath of Joy is a very energizing breath practice. It can look a little bit silly. That's okay, I'll be doing it with you. What we do is we breathe in 3 little bursts. So it's in, and then as we exhale, we let the entire breath out on the exhale with a little sound of ha. We also have arm movements and a little bit of a forward fold to that. So as we breathe in, the first arm movement is going to be front, in. Second breath in, or second third of the breath is out to the side. Filling the body with the breath, that's going to be reaching the arms overhead. And then as you exhale with a strong ha sound, leaning forward a little bit, hinging from your hips, maybe putting your elbows on your thighs, allowing your chin to come down a little bit, but not forceful. You can lean forward just to this extent. So let me show you one, and then we'll do maybe 3 or 4 together. So it's like this. So I don't know if you could hear my breath there. I'll do it one more time. I'll kind of exaggerate with verbal this time. In, ha, for out. All right, got it? Let's say 3 or 4 like that, and I'll continue with you the whole time. So get ready, take a natural breath. Remember, the arms are going to swing forward, swing out to the sides, swing overhead. Ready, and go. In, ha, coming forward. And again, in, ha, coming forward. Again, arms swing forward, side, up, ha, coming forward. 2 more. Forward, side, up, ha, coming forward. And one more. Ha. All right. Take a moment and breathe. Notice how that maybe shifted your energy level. Maybe you feel more tingly in your body from doing that. Allow your breath to return to its natural state. Your heart rate might have revved up a little bit on that. You can definitely do that longer if you'd like. Rewind and go ahead and do it again with me again. We're going to move on. We're going to come down to your mat, and I'm going to turn down to the side for a lunge. So come down to kneeling, and if you'd like to double over your mat or place a blanket under your knees, that's fine. The nice thing about this is you have your chair right next to you, and you can use your chair for a support. We're going to take one leg forward, one knee forward, and I'm going to use the leg closest to the screen. You can use whatever leg you like. You can mirror me or not. So when you come forward into this low lunge, you'll see my backhand is on the chair. Tuck your toes just to let your knee come further behind you. So I'm not directly on my kneecap. My knee's not right under my hip. I'm taking a little further behind me so I could be more on the front of my kneecap. And then you can either keep your toes tucked or you can let the top of your foot go flat. I might alternate between the two. Sometimes with my toes flat, my foot starts to cramp. Your front knee is about at a 90-degree angle. And you can see I have my front hand resting on my top thigh. So this is a low lunge, and I've got my back hand resting on the support of the chair. Feel free to do that. If you'd like to let go of your supports, you can have your hands down by your side. You can have them at heart center. This is Anjali Mudra, or sometimes this is called Namaste. They can be on your hips, wherever feels right for you. We're going to take a twist toward your bent knee. So I'm going to come toward you, toward the screen. And I'm going to do this with my hands at heart center so that I can remind myself to keep my chin even over my chest. If you'd like your hands out into a cactus shape, a T, your hips, any of those options are fine. Take a breath in, and you'll see I'm wobbling because I'm asymmetrical. You'll wobble too, most likely. Breathe in. See if you can draw everything to center to stabilize a little bit more, come a little more upright. And then as you exhale, turn toward your bent knee or turn toward me. So a little bit of a twisting action of the spine. We already moved the spine forward and back and laterally or side bend. Now we're taking it a little bit into a twist, getting some more movement. And then on an exhale, come back through center. And we're going to be taking the twist open in the opposite direction. I'm still wobbling. I'm going to tuck my toes, I think, for the open direction. You might want a different arm position for your arms. I'm going to open my arms out this time in a T. I think you'll see that on camera. Breathe in, twist the opposite way. Keep your head even or your chin even on your chest. I'm just going to turn back and look at you. So as you do this, you'll likely feel more openness than in the closed twist that we did first, where it constricts a little bit more around the rib cage, and that's fine. And then if you'd like, you can reach back toward your back thigh, your back pocket, your back calf. Maybe look up in a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, come back up. Inhale back through center. Exhale, release. And we'll do the other side. So switching opposite knee front. Remember that I first tuck my toes just to bring that knee a little further behind. That also gives me a nice stretch in the hip flexor. So I lean forward a little bit so the back thigh is about a bit of an angle. And again, let me show you the difference between having the knee right under my hip versus moving that back thigh back on an angle. I can use the chair to help upright my body, or I can let go, keep my hand resting on my thigh. My tailbone is moving down. My hip points are pointing forward. I'm trying to energetically draw everything in towards center to stabilize. I'm pushing evenly into the whole of my bottom foot. And then as I inhale, I'll bring my hands to my chest, push down into the foot and even the knee gently that's on the floor. And then on an exhale, I'll be turning into the closed twist, which means I'm turning away from you this time. Taking a few breaths here. And I feel this opening the front of my hip flexor. You may feel it somewhere else. One more breath. Exhale back through center. You can keep your hands at heart center if that's where they are. I'm going to open up my arms, and I'll tuck my back toes just for a little variety. Take a breath in, grow tall, and then as I exhale, spin around toward the screen. This is an open twist. Both versions are really nice. They just twist the spine, revolve the spine in different ways. And then if you like, you can take your back hand and reach down anywhere toward your back leg. That might be toward your back pocket, your imaginary back pocket, might be touching your thigh. Maybe it's toward your back calf or your heel. If you feel stable, you can look up toward the top arm, reaching the top arm up. This is like a little reverse low lunge warrior. Breathe into wherever you're expanding and stretching. And then on an exhale, reach back up into your open twist and back through to center. All right, so next thing we'll do is a little bit of a back bending. Actually, that was a little bit of a back bend when we reached back. That gave us some upper body back bend. We're going to come down to lying on our belly. And just as a reminder, I'll be looking at the camera at times. I want to encourage you to keep your gaze cast down, to keep the back of your neck in line with your spine, even if I'm over looking toward the screen. So you'll come all the way down on your belly with your hands on the outside of your shoulders, and we're going to take that cactus shape. So let me show you where you'll be, and then I'll lift my head back up so I can talk. So my forehead is resting on the ground. I have space under to breathe for my face. My arms are resting by my sides. With your head down like that, and keep your head in the position that I just showed you with the arms by your sides, you'll tuck one toe and then the other to create more length in the backs of your legs. And then float the legs off the ground a few inches. As you do this, think about pressing gently the front of your pubic bone, the front of your pelvis into the ground, but moving the tailbone back away from you. So you're trying to get length in your low back. If that feels uncomfortable in any way, or you just don't like lifting both legs, do one leg at a time. The emphasis is not on lifting high, it's lifting long. So feeling as if you're reaching your heel away from you and you're lifting your legs in one big piece. I'll do it one more time with both legs. And then we're going to do just the upper body. So I'm going to rest in that cactus position with my head down. I'm not going to push into my hands. I'm going to let my hands float away off the floor, so I'm not going to come very high. I'm going to take a breath in, and then as I exhale, draw my shoulder blades together, keep the back of my neck long, float my hands off the ground, keep my gaze toward the mat, keep breathing, and then exhale, come back down. You can keep your hands down on the ground. Inhale, draw the upper back up. Again, keep the gaze down, the back of the neck long. Maybe look just above the top of your mat. And exhale, back down. And one more time. Inhale, really keeping this in the upper back. Exhale, come back down, and you can rest on one cheek to rest a moment. And then we'll try that 2 or 3 more times, this time adding the arms and legs together if you like. You can do opposite leg as you lift the upper body or both legs. So come back to your face down. Breathe in. And as you exhale, a little bit of float of arms, legs, pointing your toes behind you, making your legs longer, reaching the crown of your head toward the ceiling, and continuing to breathe the whole time. Don't hold your breath. Exhale, release, maybe lowering your head to the opposite direction.
And then one more time. If you did one leg, do the opposite leg. Inhale, float everything up. Breathe. Maybe you take a big super person, stretching. One more breath. And then exhale. Lower yourself down. You can make a little pillow for your head like I just did. And as you're ready, push yourself gently up. If you want to come back into a child's pose for a moment, or a puppy pose, this is puppy, this is child's. Go right ahead and do that if that little bit of a stretch on your back feels good, rounding your back in the other direction. And then when you're ready, come to standing. You can have your chair nearby. I'm just going to move my chair a little bit out to the side. For this standing practice, and I might need to back up a little bit more here, maybe come more behind my chair, we're going to start with a knee balance, coming down into a little bit of a squat. So I'm going to start with the knee that's away from the chair. So it'd be your right knee if you're mirroring me. You can keep your hand on the chair the whole time, especially if balance is feeling off today. And in fact, now I've stepped on the carpet rather than the mat. My balance is going to feel a little more off. Or you can put your hands, just like we did on the floor in the lunge, in any position you'd like, at heart center, on your hips. From this knee balance, and it's okay to touch your foot down like I just did, you will lose your balance. We're going to take the foot behind you in the opposite direction, coming into a little bit of a squat. Your squat can be here, it can be here. This is a Shiva squat. And then breathe and place your weight back into your front foot. Lift your knee back up, setting it down at any time. And we'll do that twice more. So reaching behind you with your foot, coming into the squat. On an exhale or an inhale, as long as you're breathing, weight into the front foot, drag that foot, or see, you might lose your balance. It's totally okay to lose your balance. It's not wrong. It just means your body is trying to balance. It's not what we're all trying to do. And then one last time, bending your knee, coming down, leaning forward, maybe dragging the foot, maybe you bring it back up, and setting the foot back down, giving your body a little shake off, and we'll switch to the other side. So you can switch the chair to the other side. You can continue to hold it on this side. I'll give a little switch so I can show you what it looks like if you decide to hold the chair. Bring the knee up to start. And when you're holding a support, you can also experiment with letting go. So instead of holding on for dear life, can you have just say a fingertip on? And is that enough to steady you? In fact, I feel a lot more steady just with that little fingertip than I do like this. So this time I'll keep my hand on the chair as I begin to exhale into that Shiva squat. And you can have a half namaste if you want to keep one hand on the chair, that's fine. Take an inhale, place your weight into the front foot, exhale, stand back up. 2 more times, and you can pause anywhere along the series. So you'll start to bend the supporting knee as you reach the other foot behind you on a little bit of an angle. How much doesn't matter. Again, it's yoga, not geometry. Inhale as you lean forward, come back up. Oh, my balance is a little better on this side, and you'll find that one foot tends to be a little stronger. And then one more time, leaning forward, stepping back. And as you're ready, just to fight for the balance a little bit. See, I managed. I had to kick my foot out, but I managed. I kept my balance. I can feel all the muscles in this bottom leg working. Foot down. Take a moment in mountain pose. Mountain pose is our strong stance. Love the earth for a moment. It is Earth Day after all. Breathe. All right, then we're going to come to seated in your chair for a few more stretches, and then we'll wrap the practice up for today. I'm going to keep my chair sideways for a moment. So I want to show you a move that you can do in 2 ways. One will be a little bit more challenging than the other. Maybe not. It really depends on how your body's shaped and how you feel. So we're going to take and reach toward the back of the chair. I've got a folding chair and I can reach along the edges. You might be gripping along the outer side. The idea is you want to turn or externally rotate your arms, which means turning your thumbs away from you, even if that means they're facing forward. They might not all face all the way away, depending on where you grip. So if you're gripping the sides, your thumb will be facing forward. If you're gripping more the back, be facing more away from your body. So as you do that, you can feel that this pulls your shoulder blades together, opens up space across your chest. This is a great place to practice right here. Stay and breathe. This stretch can feel really good in the morning. Just breathe. Expand into our front body. A little stretch for the shoulders. So if you want to go to the next step, go slowly, especially if you've never done this before. It can feel a little awkward too. You're going to slide your body to the edge of the chair. And then I'm coming onto the outer edges of my feet. So I'm going to slide so that I'm seated back on the floor, but my hands are staying where they are. I don't know how awkward that looked on camera. And then I can even crawl my hands a little further back. So I can feel this stretch even more. It's naturally lifting my arms up as I get the stretch in my shoulders. Again, you can do this seated on the chair the whole time. One more breath. And then to release, I'm going to lean a little bit forward so I can slowly slide my arms out from the chair. You release however feels easier for you to release. And then come back up to seated in your chair. I'm going to turn the chair back around. All right, so this is the gentle, let's finish the practice part. Find your upright seat like you had at the start of the practice. Breathe. If you are doing this in the morning, you might notice you're feeling a little more awake. If it's the afternoon, you might also notice you're feeling a little more awake. Maybe this is a good afternoon slump practice as well. We're going to do a stretch for the lateral, the side body, like we did at the beginning. Just do it a little bit differently this time. So this time, reach your right hand, either point your fingers toward the floor or hold the edge of the chair. Either is fine. Breathe in and sweep your left arm up and overhead. So reach up on your left side and then over. And like we did at the beginning, the opposite hip stays down toward the chair. So the main thing that you're doing this time is you're adding the stretch of the top arm, because the arm, our muscles in our back are all connected here. You might even think of lifting your armpit up to the sky. Yeah, it's a little odd, but see how that affects your stretch. Reaching up on that side of the body and finding more over with your up. You can release your ear toward the shoulder like we did earlier if you'd like. And then exhale, lift up with your top arm. Coming back up, and we'll do that on the second side. So reposition if you need to. Let your left hand, your fingers wiggle down toward the ground or hold the edge of the chair. Breathe in, right arm up, reaching up strong, reaching up long. And then on an exhale, reaching over, finding more length in the right side of your body, more length between the right side ribs, the intercostal muscles, all stretching. One more breath, maybe reaching a little bit up with your armpit to get more of a stretch wherever you need to stretch. And then as you exhale, expand tall once more and bring your hands down. So the last pose that we're going to do is a little bit of a forward bend. For this, you are going to reach your feet apart. So we started doing this in the breath of joy. We came forward a little bit. And you'll remember I said to hinge forward from your hips. When we hinge forward in a forward bend, whether we're standing or seated, we're always moving forward from our hips. So you can see my back is staying long. I'm not leading this with my chest and going into the little cat stretch. Although when I get to wherever my maximum is, let's just say it's here, because this is going to be one option to lean on your elbows, then I can let a little roundness come into my back, chin toward chest, like this. So I just showed you an option for the pose. Your feet are wide enough apart to create space for your body. So that's all you're doing. They don't have to be uncomfortably wide apart. Just create a little space. Your toes can turn out. So start to slide your hands along your thighs, your knees, coming forward to about your elbows, if that feels good. If not, hands stay here, and I'm still in a forward bend. I can still drop my chin and relax. But if your body is giving you more room, you might rest on your elbows. This is like a little coach position, right? And here you can get some good rest or restore by just allowing your head to release. Our heads are pretty heavy. And then maybe if there's any more space for your body, you can hinge a little further, spill in between your legs, kind of like a rag doll. Perhaps you have your hand on a box or a block, or perhaps your hands reach the ground. So stay in your forward bend for about 3 to 5 breaths. Soften wherever it feels good for you to soften. Release anything that does not need to hold you here. So you might be resting on your hands. There might be some muscular action in your feet. Can you release in the area of your jaw? Can you make your shoulders more soft? Can you release any clenching in the muscles of your abdomen? If I told you we were going to be here another 10 minutes, what would you need to do in your body to allow a little bit more comfort? And then take one more breath, thinking of that sense of comfort in your body, that sense of release. Noticing the relaxed energy that you've created with this stretchy yet gentle practice. And then the same way you came down, use your hands to slide back up your body, coming back into an upright position. And if you'd like to conclude the practice today, you can use a mudra. A mudra is simply a hand gesture. We've already done a mudra with our hands at heart center. This is Anjali Mudra, often just called prayer hands or namaste, but it does have a name, Anjali Mudra. So for this mudra, it's prana mudra. Prana is life force. When we talk about breath or breath practice, the name for that is pranayama, and that is the life force. Breath is life force. So this is the tip of your thumb to the tips of your ring and your pinky fingers. The other fingers are extended. And I always say about mudra, try them, see what you think. Does it help you feel energized? If this feels good, you can hold it out to the side. You can rest your mudra in your lap. And holding the mudra, one more conscious breath. You're welcome to hold that mudra as long as you'd like. As we conclude the practice, we'll release the mudra, breathe one last breath in together, reaching the arms up and overhead. You can look toward your hands if you'd like. Exhaling, bringing the hands down through heart center, back to Anjali. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this practice did help you to create some more energy, to awaken in your day, whether it's morning or mid-afternoon like it is for me. I offer you peace. I offer you health. Thank you for being here, and take care.